Hello and welcome to this week's coffee vlog, take 2. It's the Friday the 8th of December. I'm heading home at 20 to 6 now. Let's get some lights, eh? Yes, take 2. So this morning I did the vlog, or did half of the vlog anyway, got halfway there, and then realised that I hadn't set the dash cam off, which was doubly frustrating because it snowed buckets last night at home. There was loads of snow everywhere, and it would have made just a great vlog because I'd left the snow on the windscreen and you'd have seen the snow getting scraped off by me from the outside and sitting off in the snow and slithering around the estate and then out onto the main road. And I didn't turn the stupid camera on. Well, I turned it on, but I pressed the wrong button, so I pressed the power button instead of the start recording button. When you press the power button, all it does is change the mode from video mode to camera mode, but doesn't actually start anything happening. So that was very frustrating. I'm going to claw a tad of it back because what I'm going to do is I did Mr Nellis's words of wisdom before setting off from home. So I'm going to add those in at the end, along with the footage of the drive from Queensbury down to Halifax. So you can see all the snow sort of there and that bit. So you're going to see a bit of this morning's snow anyway. There should be quite a lot at home still, because it's been freezing all day really, even though clear skies, the sun's been out a bit. So anyway, returning to the vlog part 2, or what I've already done, but I have to remember what I said this morning so I can say it again. So yeah, it's been a pretty busy week at work. We've had loads on. Obviously Christmas rush is approaching, stocking up for Christmas, so we've got extra stock for then. And then just general people ordering stuff left, right and centre. So work's going well. Obviously last week I had my gaming PC, my sort of first bit of it on Steemit, and all the components turned up last Friday night, so I was pretty excited about getting that built. Only on Saturday, first thing I had to do before any of that was get on with wall mounting the TV in the bedroom. Well, in our room really it is. So wall mounting the TV so I could move the chest of drawers it's on, and then there's sort of the gaming I can't think of what it's called now. The desk, you know, so the desk unit that's got all the setup for the keyboard and mouse and everything, and that gets moved in the corner and gives me more room for the base unit as well. So I set about doing the TV wall mounting, and it wasn't as simple as it could be because there's no power where I was mounting it on the wall, so I had to run power through from the attic, which is fun. So that involved me sort of crawling about through the attic, well not crawling, but crouching about in areas, and digging through insulation to find where it made me hole to get my wires pulled through. So that ran power down behind the TV for that, wall mounted the TV, made a bit of an error, as is the way of things, isn't it? I couldn't find the stupid level tool to level the TV bracket when I was mounting it on the wall, so being a bit lazy, I didn't bother hunting hard enough for it and decided just to measure from the door frame across, and that'll make it straight, won't it? No, it didn't make it straight, not enough anyway. So when the TV, got the TV up on the bracket, looked at it, I was like, that's wonky. Silly boy. So yes, fortunately the bracket that the TV sort of holds the TV onto the mounting arm, the bracket itself, that slides on, so the TV bracket slides onto the arm of the wall mount. So I was able, because it sort of slides down via a triangular fitting, I was able to put a rubber washer on the side that was a bit too low, making it look wonky, and then sort of hold it down with a cable tie on the far side to level it up, and it did level up in the end. So I managed to recover that potential disaster. And then, would you believe, while I was cooking dinner, before I put the sort of the media shelves up to go under it to hold all the gizmos, I found the level tool of all things, which was tucked away bizarrely, I don't know why, bizarrely tucked away on one of the shelves in the kitchen. So I was able to use that at least for the media shelves, and they do look straight, so that's good as well. Of course, they've got on the Apple TV, the PlayStation TV, PlayStation 3 on the lower one, and a Ethernet router, so all of those devices can have Ethernet, well, wired internet. So I had to run an Ethernet cable up into the attic via what used to be the aerial lead for the TV. Had some trunking down the wall, so the Ethernet went back up that way, because the aerial lead, of course, is coming down the back with the power and that Ethernet, and then one Ethernet cable's going back up into the attic to feed internet to the Antminer S5 I took last week at home and deposited there. That is the S5 that lasted 3 days until the eldest got sent in the attic for some stuff. Somehow put his weight on the board I'd put the S5 on. It tipped at an angle like that, and the power supply that was behind it slid down the board, and the plug bit of it that it plugs in the back went into the fan that spins at 6,000 RPM and snapped some blades off it, consequently making it bounce about like a hammer drill. So he'd turned it off. I came home Monday night. Oh, we've had an issue. What? There was something rattling, and Jordan. So of course I had to go up, and I was like, oh no, me poor miner. I'm not going to earn any Bitcoin out of that at the moment, am I? So after much saltiness at home and muttering and cursing, I managed in the end. I had to order another one, but it's going to take. It's still not turned up yet. It'll be in the middle of next week before that arrives. I managed to break off some other tines of the fan, so it doesn't quite sound so vibrate. Well, at least because it was bouncing about the chuffing place when there's only half the blades on. But now I've balanced it. But the thing is, I then had to put like a room fan aimed at it, so it would have extra cooling, because I didn't want it to overheat. I didn't know if those two tines would do it. I mean, it's in the freezing cold attic, it shouldn't overheat, but so I did that. But it seems to be running okay now. You can hear it, because it's, you know, even with my broken off tines, it's off center, so it's and you can hear from the landing, you can hear this upstairs, but in the attic, but it's running. But yeah, 2 days the poor thing lasted. That's my household fear. Break everything. Right, let's get in and do this, and then I'll be back after that. So I'm paranoid about things not recording at the moment. Right, I'll catch you in a minute. Okay, we're back from dropping the parcels, so let's get moving on home. So yes, I eventually got done with setting all the TV moving up, and sorted all that out, which by the time I'd done that, well, it was tea time actually. It took most of the day messing about with it, like say, you know, sorting the electric out up in the attic and then getting it pulled down and everything. It takes some amount of time fiddling about with stuff. So I got there in the end, and it was all up and working lovely, so I was well pleased. So I had tea, and then after tea Saturday night was let's start building a PC, because all the bits had turned up Friday, so I started building my gaming PC, and it went surprisingly well. It's a long time since I've done such a thing, and I did recall from the previous build, the hardest bit was putting the processor and the processor cooling fan on, the CPU. So I'd watched some guides for the fan the processor I'd got, and sort of refreshed my memory on how to do it and everything, and it was a smoother installation of the actual CPU bit itself. They seem to have improved that somewhat, but installing the cooling fan is still pretty much a brutal task. And of course you're doing it on the motherboard, and you're so conscious it's fragile, and if you're putting pressure on it, it's going to bend or snap or break something. And but of course at the same point, the cooling fan and the aluminium block that cools the CPU, it's essential that it is really well fitted, because of course it's not going to provide the cooling it needs to if it's loose or it's not on right or whatever else. So so that was a bit of a thing. And of course I was watching the guide, and it was on about the thermal paste, and I was like, oh, didn't get any thermal paste, hope there's some on it. But the CPU cooler fan and block bit had thermal paste pre-applied to it, fortunately, so just the stock one. Of course a lot of people like to well, if they're going to overclock ridiculous amounts and things, they'll replace the stock paste with something like I think it's Arctic Silver.
Warning, risk
you know, really
limit, 30 miles
high cooling quality thermal paste. Oh, you know, I'm just going to zing through that one. You didn't see that, did you? Well, the guy behind me went through it, so make of that as you will. So yes, I got it on, but it was sort of screwing in of the screws to the motherboard for this fan, and with the sprung screws, but you've got to put quite a lot of pressure because of the springing to get them to lock in, or you're screwing them, and anyway, I got it done. Then I discovered, double-checked the RAM, because
Warning,
normally there's certain permutations for RAM slots. This board's got 4 RAM slots, and I'd only got 2 sticks of RAM. So I was trying to work out, you know, went in through the book to make sure I worked out which slots you've got to put it in, because it's not always, you know, you put 2 in 1 and 2, and in fact this one isn't like that. And so if you have 1 stick, you put it in slot 1. If you have 2 sticks, you put it in slot 2 and 4, and then you fill all the slots if you've got 4 of them. So I used 2 and 4, which was very fortunate, because the way round I'd put the cooling fan, it got like a sticky out lippy bit, but the video I watched, it said to do it that direction, that covers up slot 1. So I wouldn't be able to use that with the fan on that way. I'd have had to taken it off and put it back round the other way, which wouldn't have done the thermal paste any good either. So that's a bit of a thing, but as it is, I'm only using 2 sticks of RAM, and 2 sticks of RAM will be more than enough for what we need it for, so that's not going to be an issue. I don't have to worry about taking that off again. Getting the board into the case was a slightly tighter fit than I thought. I got a full-size ATX. The guide I'd been reading had actually got a what the class is a mini ATX board, but at the sort of last minute I deviated from that and went for a bigger one. The other thing was the board I was looking at was kind of reddy. It got a red effect to it, and I wasn't very keen on that, so I ended up going with this one because it's a white board, what they called an Arctic one, gaming board. So I changed my plans to that one, and I'm quite pleased with it now. Actually, I think I did the right thing there. It was a little more, but I was a bit about the micro, so the smaller size board as well. I was just like, and then trying to get that. Obviously the gaming processor, graphics processor as well, was gonna be a bit tricky. So trying to get that board actually into the case, because I'd already got those fans in the top as well. They were kind of causing me a bit of a sort of hassle. So I got that in, then got to connect up all the power different couplings, because there's a power for the CPU, there's the power for the board itself, the full board plug-in power. Then you need power for the GPU, the graphics card, and then there's the power connections for the fans. The good thing about the power supply I got, it's one of these modular builder versions where you plug in the cables you need, so it doesn't have them all just dangling out annoyingly, even if you don't need them. So what I was able to do, yeah, I'm going to actually squash you if you come out to the road there, because you parked in the worst place possible to get your fish and chips. So so yeah, the PSE is quite good because I don't have to have a million cables that I don't need anyway attached to it. It's just got the ones I need, which in fact I think I've only got 4 cables plugged in to it out of possible 8 or so that you could have plugged in for various things. So got all that in, got all the little tiny, and this was something that again I'd forgotten about, but the case of course has so many connections to the motherboard for different things, because there's USB ports on the top of the case, there is a card reader hidden behind a door on the front, then there's of course you've got the cables to connect for the power LED, the SSD, well, hard drive as it is, activity light, but I mean it's SSD I got, and also the power on off button and the reset button. So all those things have their little respective bits to plug into on the motherboard, and the little tiny cables and connectors and things. So it's tight work. Late at night, I was there with my phone poking about to brighten up what I was looking at, so I could actually see the wordings and work out what was going where. It's a bit slippy down that road. So you can see we got a bit still lying around here. It was treacherous this morning because the whole road had just, it got snow everywhere. It hadn't, I don't know if they didn't grit. Even this bit of road I was going up, further up obviously, just was covered in snow this morning. So so yeah, I managed to connect all those up. Getting the GPU in was a bit of a tight fit as well. That's because it's quite a big beast. But I managed to get everything in, and now you're not going to believe me when I say this, it booted first time, no problems. I hadn't connected anything wrong. It booted up to the BIOS screen, went into the BIOS, selected USB as the first boot choice, and then plugged in my pre-made Windows 10 64-bit USB installer, and then just sort of reset it from the BIOS, and it booted straight into Windows 10, installed Windows 10 in a blazing amount of speed. I was absolutely amazed how quickly Windows 10 installed on it. Absolutely, it just flew through. I mean, I don't imagine that USB drive was the fastest one in the world, but it's, yeah, it just did it. I was quite amazed, and it was super simple setup from sort of logging in, because I just put in I've got a Microsoft account with OneDrive and everything else anyway, so I just put that in and it just set the whole lot up straight up for me. Pulled all the information off that account, even my desktop backgrounds and things. So that was kind of good marks for Microsoft. Bad marks for Microsoft was the fact that Microsoft Edge was completely balked, and I mean completely balked. This guy seems to be having a bit of a wiggle about somehow, I don't know why. Yeah, I was going into Microsoft because I obviously wanted to download stuff, bits of things and apps and Steam and get everything else, and could I do it? No. Go to Google, it load Google, put something in Google, and it just timed out and never loaded it, and just sat there forever. And I was like, wait, I'm connected up by Ethernet, there's no problem with that. I just couldn't understand it. In the end, after a few efforts with Microsoft Edge, I gave up with it, went to Internet Explorer, good old Internet Explorer, found that, you know, lurking away in the background of Windows 10, and that worked perfectly fine for me to download Chrome, so I could then just use Chrome all the time, because Microsoft stuff's junk. So I've no idea what's up with Edge. I don't know what is up with Edge on it, but it's just not doing anything internet-wise. It'll load one page, like I say, you put something in, it'll load that, but the next time it just gets stuck and times out all the time. So that is a bit of a malarkey, it is. So other than that, it's all up and running. It's beautiful. I love looking through at the green inside it. You'll obviously have to wait until I do the Steemit post for the sort of the build and putting the bits in and whatever else, which will perhaps be tomorrow night or Sunday night at the moment. I've spread it out a bit. I was just wanting to give Wednesday night I did a post about a bit of art I got from someone I'd started following on Steemit, and I really liked one of the bits of art, so I picked that up and I wanted to do that post on that, and I'm letting it run a bit. Tonight I'll probably get the vlog done and uploaded, and that'll be tonight's post. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday on Steemit will be the next part of the gaming PC. But yeah, it looks stunning. It does run as I wanted it to. Absolutely brilliant. It's so smooth. Game wise, with everything we've thrown at it, it has just done it with ease. Sometimes the graphics card, which I got, the one I got has got 3 fans on it. 3 fans. Sometimes it doesn't even need to use the fans. It amazes me. There's some games on it just doesn't even use the fans. So that is so that's kind of amazing in itself. So yeah, it's just running great. So very pleased with that. And other than that, yeah, other than I'm really cheesed off with myself that this snowy scene that it was this morning, and it had been such a perfect vlog, and the snow and everything, and I didn't turn on the stupid dash cam. The things sent to try. So we might get some more snow Sunday, I think, and I think we're set for cold all week, and possibly it's snow later, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, have a good weekend and week next week. Bob, I hope you have better luck with your vlog than I had with mine this week anyway. Yeah, have a good weekend, and I will catch you in next week's coffee vlog. Okay, see ya. do is I'm going to do Richard Nellis's words of wisdom now, just while we're waiting for things to defrost a little. So let's dig these up. It's for me been another busy week. Work's been super busy. I think everyone's getting in the Christmas sort of gear now. I've been trying to stock up because a lot of the places we buy from are shut like us, and everyone always goes mad like the last week before Christmas, buys loads of stock, buys nothing in January because they've still got loads left over, but there you are. So Mr Richard Nellis says his review at Pennine Magpie with Richard Lodge on the 1st of December, and his goals will be snow tubing and singing. Alright. So hang on, oh, the review was the 1st of December, so that was a week ago or whatever. Yeah, it was last Friday, wasn't it? I don't know. Yeah, it was Friday. His younger grandma and granddad in Mallorca from the 1st to the 7th of December. Good time to be in Mallorca at the moment, Richard. Imagine it's a bit warmer than here. David Woodhead met Barry Killerby, who was Mr Blobby, but Barry was in another year at his school. Alright. Been watching Star Wars The Force Awakens and RoboCop 3, good films. He's also seen a Shrek version of Spray Art. it's just out The Lions of God. I couldn't figure it out though. From Your House Like the Iron Man van. He's also been to Leeds City Museum for another trip, and it had a skeleton exhibition, but that was pretty interesting. He's also been to Beefeater on Tuesday with his mum, which was instead of the feathers, so no singing this week. Toys R Us closing down, but luckily the Bristol one will still open. Yeah, they're closing a lot of stores. Bradford stores closing Toys R Us. I think it's just more of, you know, they do more online now than anything, like a lot of places, so having a physical store becomes sort of expensive. And then, what's this? He was Victor Meldrew at, the first thing is David Woodhead went to see the Nutcracker at Wrexham on Tuesday evening, which normally he likes rock music. Right, so a Victor Meldrew moment because David Woodhead went to see the Nutcracker and you expected him to go and see some rock band instead of something. That's quite amusing. Second thing is been on a free boxing arcade game at Electric Bowl as it was back to normal. Alright, fair enough. He's also been to David Crosswell's graveyard, which I've told him I will watch Brassed Off on Thursday morning at 11. And Ed Sheeran became an MBE. Exciting times, Richard. So, what's going on with this now? Whoa, can we see? It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I'm thinking, have to remove some of that snow from the bonnet before we try moving anywhere. A bit on the roof, but that shouldn't be too bad. So I am going to go and nip and grab my my special glove for that job. So I'll just leave you to look at the inside of the car. Why not?